So welcome out there. Hello, everybody in community. Hello, friends. My name is Jaye, and this is Jaye's Sweatshop, so I'm very happy for you to be here. You know what? Thank you to Valerie. You can see Valerie in the background, so we're going to give her a quick wave there. Listen, you know what, folks? It is summertime, and everyone gets out, and they get more active. So tell me, are you a swimmer? Do you swim? Maybe do you run? Maybe do you cycle? Maybe do two of the three things, right? Have you ever decided maybe you want to take on a personal challenge like a triathlon? Now, when I say that, I know some of you are probably going, heck no, I don't run, I don't swim, are you crazy? Right? Maybe for some of you, you do, but you may have certain fears and you're not quite sure, like swimming, and you just want to say, maybe I need a coach or something just to help me get through some of that. So I am so excited because in today's interview, I have Valerie, and Valerie is a triathlon coach. She's also a triathlon official, and she is, you know what, a business achievement director. She is an entrepreneur, and I am so excited, Valerie, to have you here today. Woo-hoo-hoo. Right? This is exciting. So for those who don't know me, my name is Jaye Graham, and I'm the owner of H2O Works Canada, where my client care is in a pool setting, and I do water rehabilitation with them. I also help people from a nutritional perspective who want to live healthier, maybe more freeing lives. I also collaborate with two other amazing ladies on a Facebook page called Embracing Hormones. So women who may be having hormonal issues. So you can always check that out. But this particular Facebook page is a community Facebook page because I really wanted to collaborate with other women, other entrepreneurs in areas of interest. So if I can help them build their influence, brand, and reach, you know what, on social media, through networking, I think we need to do that more often. So hashtag, you know what, collaboration is cool. So thank you again, Valerie, for coming in today. I think that's amazing. Yay, yay, yay. And I would love, go ahead, please.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be on this call with you.
That's excellent. And I just wanted to introduce Valerie because she's got some amazing accolades here. So I am going to probably read a little bit. So if I'm reading, okay. Now you actually worked 11 years in strategy and marketing, right? So that's pretty cool. So you've got quite the extensive background and educational piece behind you. You worked at Cooperators as a lead for a program called Impact, which really was a leadership training program. Now you've also transitioned from being an employee to an entrepreneur, which is, you know what, pretty cool in itself. That can be scary. So you've got an amazing story that I really want to go over with as well. And I think this is so cool, but you actually speak 6 languages. Like I could barely get through one, honestly, but you speak 6, like English, Filipino, French, Indonesian, Japanese, Spanish. I'm going to just do one of these to you.
Oh gosh, no.
So thank you. Very excited for you to be here. And I hope you will share. You have such an amazing story. As I said, you've actually gone from like that couch side, a Homer Simpson side. I kind of joke about that. And you are now an Ironwoman, like phenomenal. And I would love for you to maybe discuss more about that. So tell us your story.
So thank you very much again for having me on. This is really exciting. And I love collaborating, especially with other women, because like you said, we've got to raise everyone up. And so I started really haphazardly into all of this. My focus when I finished university was I always had the international bug. I've lived overseas. Like you mentioned, I speak 6 different languages, and that's been picked up by living or working overseas or studying overseas. So I've done year-long exchange program to Indonesia when I was 16.
Wow.
I've gone on, lived in Switzerland. I've lived in Japan for 3 years. I mean, so I've really have this flair for cultures and for foreign, just everything foreign languages. It comes so easily to me. And really I have to piggyback. Those 6 languages are what I would call my fluent languages. So I don't count German in there because I haven't attained fluency yet, but I have enough to be able to travel. So, I mean, there's other splatterings of languages, even Italian. My goal is to have 10 languages before the day that they have to put me 6 feet under. So we're working on it. But I don't want to work on it too fast, of course, because that's a whole point on that. I did start off, when I finished university, was fortunate enough to be able to go work for a non-governmental organization that was affiliated to the United Nations overseas. Amazing experience, came back, ended up in a classroom doing some assistive work, a special actually communications program with elementary school children.
Wow.
7-year-olds, and taking them into technology field that didn't exist. So think back now, 20 years ago, what technology was or really wasn't. And that's where I was starting the children on, and really developed that. And to see that they've actually stepped into that and heard back that a couple of those that I had actually taught at that time have gone on into communicative services. So really exciting to see that. And then it just developed, moved, it was always one of those, what's next? Yes. And I can easily live out of a suitcase if necessary. It is more exhausting as you get older, for sure. So definitely embracing those opportunities when you have them. It does mean making some sacrifices, but I don't regret a single time that I've been overseas. Excellent. Never. And then came back and stepped into a very different area that I didn't expect, but was a very natural field of moving, like you mentioned, as a strategic brand and marketing and brand development. And that was working with pretty much with companies that were looking to get their, to launch their products, everything from inception right to, say, market shelf. Wow. So that whole aspect, working on the back end of it, working more with the higher levels, allowed me to mix and meet so many people and just keep expanding. And the work was constantly changing. Went on to cooperators, worked with their special program called Impact, and being able to do a leadership program and work in that field with university students and be inspired by what they are doing when it comes to sustainable development. Nice. And the ideas they have. So a lot of great grassroots projects, that were started and funded. So, I mean, there are companies out there that do a lot more than what you think they do. And they are involved in the communities. And that was one of those type of environments. And then from there transitioned, I got, I think for me, my transition into triathlons was just, I woke up after one of, the fairly big birthdays and sort of went, oh dear, if I don't do something about my health, I may as well start taking a shovel and digging my hole, because that's where I was heading. Right. So that decision, that was kind of a pivot point, and decided to sign up for a gym that was just opening up. So I knew no one going into that gym, but I also knew that no one else knew anyone. Right. So fresh start. And literally that's a big part of what did it for me, because it allowed me to network with new people who were on the similar journeys and who were inspiring and supportive as well. And from there, it got dragged out of me what one of my goals was, which was just to run a simple 5K. It was actually to complete, not even to run, to complete a 5K, because at that time I was morbidly obese. So I just wanted to complete a 5K, and I didn't care how I crossed the finish line. Crawled, rolled, walked, carried, wheeled, pushed. It didn't matter. I just wanted to finish it, get the t-shirt to say I did it, and the medal, which was the thing. Yeah. And then I'd hang up the shoes and call it a day. But that just led into the exposure of triathlons through the one who was helping me with my run, who was coaching me through my run, realizing what an amazing community it was. And I think that's the key, it's the community. So even if you train alone, when you go to a race or you go to an event, you become part of a bigger community, and it is a welcoming community. Yes. And I believe that's what people are missing from their lives, is community. Community, and yes. And so that was a big key for me that turned me on to triathlons. And then the rest started to just evolve one after the other. Yes, yeah. And so like you said, I mean, Ironman was never, ever in my dreams, ever. It just became one of those, I wonder if I could do it, after I did the proper steps going towards it. Yeah, the training and the steps, as you said, to get to where you're going. Correct. Well, congratulations, because that is phenomenal. And that is inspiring. Just like, I just can't imagine, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, wow, that is so cool. So again, woo, good for you. Now, you've also gone from employee to entrepreneur. Now, for many people, you've gone from now what is comfortable and common to an unknown. So maybe you could just
Because you know what, people expand on that because people are like, whoa, I'd like to, but yeah.
Right. And it is a frightening step to take, to go from, where you've got what you is a stable job. You've got your pay coming in every single day, every week. You show up, you punch in the clock, and you're out, for example, you're in at 8, out at 5, and you've been paid for that time. Every 2 weeks you get paid without a fail. Then you got your vacation. I mean, it is that rhythm, which is that challenge. And then you step into entrepreneurship, and it's not sitting in your fuzzy bunny slippers and at your counter sipping your coffee in your pajamas and making $1 million. That's not how it works. So that it does take a lot of belief that you're going to be able to do it, and support. That's a big thing. You have to have people who are going to be able to surround you and support you on it, and support in terms of the encouragement, because entrepreneurship can be very lonely, but it can be so rewarding. I mean, lonely in the sense that suddenly that fear, you're accountable to yourself, that you really have to step out and become even that much more accountable, but so rewarding because the impact you can have in following your dreams and passions, it's unlimited. Like, you no longer are bound and chained to a desk. You have that latitude, of even dictating your hours sometimes, not necessarily because you may become an entrepreneur with a business and having some people working within you. So you do have those hours, but you have more latitude, and it's very different. Suddenly it's on your terms, not on someone else's terms. And you're building up your dreams, not someone else's dreams. And I think that's that. When you see that part, that's what gets you through the difficult part. I mean, of course, don't go into blind and suddenly, quit your job and step into it. Know what you have to prepare, know what you're getting into, have that financial backing, that resource that you've already, put that money aside if you need to, because as an entrepreneur, you're not necessarily going to earn on day one. It's the work you do now is going to be reaped later. It's like farming. Yes. I mean, plant that seed, but you're going to have to wait till the end of the season to reap the benefits.
Right, the benefits. So as a seasoned marketing specialist, right, obviously people who might be coming to you, you can provide strategies. Because obviously you just said you've done all the background in terms of inception to whatever they need to do, right? Mm-hmm. So those solutions, I'm sure people would be definitely looking for, and guidance, and that would be where you come in.
Absolutely. I mean, I've worked everything from doing the market studies. For example, if you're a manufacturer, you're looking to bring a product into a marketplace. I've done everything from market studies to see the feasibility, which markets would be the best place. Also looking at your packaging, labels. There are laws and requirements, whether you're going to be marketing something in Canada, or if you're looking at and in Canada, you've got languages. English and French. Where's your market going to be? And if you're going to be operating in Quebec, then their language laws are slightly different. And no, it's not it doesn't matter. Trust me, it does. Or you will be slapped on the wrist big time when it comes to products, especially retail products. If you're going into the United States, that's also another challenge. Think of the words color, COLOUR, COLOR. What do you use? I mean, those little things. So I've done everything from packaging, and then after that, the introductions within the corporations. Where do you make your contacts? How do you do that? How do you pitch that product properly? Your ideas. So it's the whole inception of that delivery. So yes, absolutely. And I love doing that.
That's excellent too. And as you mentioned, you've touched on the triathlons, which I think is incredibly exciting. And so in the world of triathlons, maybe you could expand a little more in terms of maybe what you've accomplished and what are the differences too, right? In terms of, you've got the try the sprint, go ahead. Yeah. Tell us more too about that.
So triathlons are 3 sports. So typically it's a swim followed by a bike, followed by a run. There are variations on that, duathlons, aquathlons. I mean, there's all sorts of different variations, but at the core, that's where we're looking at when we talk about triathlons. You have everything from a tri-tri. So a tri-tri is a fabulous way. If you're getting into the sport, you've never done the sport, I suggest do a tri-tri. And I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of bike you have, as long as it's a safe bike, as long as you have a helmet, then you're good to go. So, I mean, can you swim? If you can swim about 250 meters, you're good to go. You know, and there's some races that are a lot easier, maybe more inviting if you're a first timer and you're, you know, you've got that a little bit of that anxiety with being in open water, because you can do pool triathlons, which are fabulous. They're indoor, what we call indoor triathlons, or you can also do outdoors. So right now, this is the time we're in summer, which is such a short season. So a lot of races all packed into one here in Ontario. And so they're outdoors, open water in the lakes. Now, if you're afraid of that and you're saying, oh my gosh, I can't swim in the lake and I'm afraid of that, there's some races that are fabulous where they'll hug the shoreline, so that if you're a stronger swimmer, you go further away where you can't touch the floor. You know, you can't touch the soil, the ground. But if you're a little bit more cautious or just have a little bit of that anxiety and fear, you can go where you can stand up if you need to. So there's a lot of different ways to accommodate for that. And there's the tries, then there's a sprint. So going up in distances. Then after that, it's the Olympic or international. Olympic, because that's what we see when we watch the Summer Olympics. That's that distance. And that Olympic distance, you're doing approximately a 1.5K swim, followed by a 40K bike ride, followed by a 10K run.
Wow. Yeah.
And you will transition in between the two, but you don't have time to have a picnic. It's literally get your shoes on and get out. Then after that, now you start to jump into more of the endurance type, half Ironman or 70.3 and a full Ironman. So your race can go from anything under an hour to up to 17 hours.
Yes. Wow.
So that's the magnitude of the races. And then you also have ultra triathlons.
Right.
Which we won't even go into. That's double the distance.
Well, I have to admit, it is inviting. There's no question. You know, I've done a tri myself. And for an individual, people find this quite funny because I do a lot of work in the pool, but I have not had formal swimming lessons. So the fear of water, especially open, like it was crazy. And I know it took every fiber of being to get there. And so, you know, for myself, I picked up a few things, you know, like I got my wetsuit because it made me more buoyant. Once I got there, I was like, okay, I'll be in the back, you know, I'll be in the back. And they have kayakers, which is so, and I went, oh my gosh, they have kayakers just to help us out, just in case. I didn't need any. And so, you know what, by the time you get around and you hit the land, it's like, okay, I got this. I can rock it out. And so, but it's sometimes when you do have fears and you do have that, it's good to have a coach just to talk you through it, just to talk and talk and talk, right? And I think another point that you hit on too was transitions. You got to do it right.
Oh, yes.
And there are tricks to doing it right, right?
Oh, yes. There's tricks to getting out of your wetsuit.
Yes. Like the littlest things you don't realize, but yeah, it's quite amazing. So for yourself personally, did you face any initial fears?
Oh, heck yes. To me, for the longest time, and I'm going to say, I probably right to maybe the year before I did my Ironman, I had this fear each time I got into the lake. For some reason, every tiny little like fish, minnow, whatever that's about that size was that big, you know,
a big shark.
They were sharks. I mean, I kid you not. I was like, there are sharks in Lake Ontario. I am sure of it. Sure and certain of it. There are sharks in Lake Ontario. There are sharks in Guelph Lake. There are sharks everywhere. You know,
that's right.
I know Canada's full of sharks, and because it was just a fear. So it was to get over that fear, and the only way to get over. Yes, coaching helps tremendously because there's a big mindset part that is so critical, whether it's the short distance or the long distance. And as a short distance, when you're just starting off, there's so many questions. You will have so many questions because it is so technical as a sport. And the reason it is so technical, which is the officiating part that I do as well, is because we try to keep it safe. So all the rules exist because it's for safety. Rules of drafting so that you're not too close to the next cyclist, because if a cyclist goes down, you don't want to be going down or taking unfair advantages that way. So, I mean, rules where you can't cut off the course, obvious rules like that, you know, rules of no littering because you don't want someone to trip on your, you know, your wrapper, your water bottle, your banana peel, whatever it is. Right. So, I mean, there's all sorts of rules that are in place. So definitely having that coach, I mean, who can actually, and maybe it's just very little maybe not so much hands-on, but more just for the technical aspect and answering all the questions and helping prepare you, and so that you can have just an absolutely fun time, because that's what it should be.
That's what it should be. I was going to say, it's fun.
Yeah, the majority of the people, when you think of it, how many people actually are professionals in the sport?
Right.
Very little. So the rest of us, because I'm one of those, I'll never be a professional. I'll never get to that level, nor do I want to be at that level, because I don't want to train all those hours and dedicate my life that way to training. My body just, it's done its time for that part.
Right.
And it wouldn't be enjoyable at that point. So, I do it for fun. I do it for the personal satisfaction and challenges. But yes, there was a fear. It's been the fear of the sharks. Fear of, will I be able to do it? Will I make my cutoffs? Those are true fears, like the fear of the unknown. And I think that was the excitement and fear at the same time, that both of those two things together. So the coaching part is what helped me tremendously, because even though I coach others, I still have coached myself.
Yes.
And it's something that someone had instilled to me. One of my run coaches instilled to me long ago. He said, everyone needs a coach. Mm-hmm. He goes, I don't care if you think you can coach yourself. Go ahead, get your program. You can set up your program, but get yourself a coach, because you're still going to need someone to bounce a lot of the ideas and get some, sometimes just get that other feedback or that other perspective.
It's tweaking too, right? Yeah, it's tweaking
Absolutely.
The program. It's doing all that sort of thing. So
because life happens.
Yeah,
life happens, and things are going to happen that are not predictable.
Right. So for yourself, obviously you can coach on people like myself who are newbies, and obviously you take on, probably more experienced individuals as well. So you have that gamut, which is excellent. Tell me, you touched on briefly, because you mentioned the banana peel, nutrition. Mm-hmm. Right. We know you and I both come from nutrition. We look at this kind of component and see it. So I'm thinking, there's probably differences in terms of, somebody maybe just wanting to get healthy, timing of things, how things worked. And then, I'm now going into the triathlon. So how important, and I'm pretty sure I can answer this, but I want you to answer it. How important, right, is the nutritional component, and let's, maybe timing.
So I think, we call it triathlons, but it should almost be quadrathlons, because nutrition is really the fourth key of everything. At the shorter distance, you can get away with a lot. I just officiated at a race last weekend and had to hide my shock at watching what people were consuming, or how much they thought they needed in order to be able to accomplish their race. And then, of course, think of it in a marathon. You might see, people at the start and they look great, and then at the end they've got that belly bloat, because it's all that they've consumed during that marathon. Triathlon, you get that bloat too. You see a lot of people getting across with a lot of that inflammation and that bloat, and this is all the nutrition. Or they're saying, oh, it was grueling, or I bonked, I hit a wall. That's one of the terms you'll hear, because it does happen in triathlons too. Or I just completely ran out of energy. That's what it really means. I just ran out and couldn't move. That's it. It's gas in it. It's like having a car. You have to put gas in the car for the car to move from point A to point B. If you don't have enough gas, you're going to stall somewhere along the way. Right. So nutrition is that element. What you do before and after is going to dictate what happens during your race. So it's how you're eating. There are different approaches. Some people like to carb load. Some people like to reduce their carbs. There's different approaches, and it really depends on what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to do. There's different strategies during racing as well. I'm more of the school of less is best, but less of the right stuff is best. Yeah. I've seen people take picnics in the back of their cycling jerseys, and I'm like, how can you eat all of that stuff? But that's me, and it works for them, but it doesn't work for me. So yes, it's a lot of trial and error. So you also have to be patient when you're getting to the longer distance. You have to also plan and practice your fueling strategy, which is what you're going to do during your race, and your nutrition, what you're doing before and after, which will dictate how you train, recover, so that you can, and your body, and that's the key. It's how do you recover? The better you recover, the better you can train. the better you can perform. It's a cycle. So it's that whole cycle. So you need to eat properly, and it's not just eating properly, but it's also balancing a lot of other components. There's a lot of moving parts for it. It doesn't have to be complicated. That's the beauty.
That's the beauty.
I think people think it has to be so complicated, but it doesn't. But that's, again, a great time when, having a coach helps who understands that moving aspect too, not just the technical aspect of the sport, but also that part, and brings that part in.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Listen, I also wanted to say, I know for those who may be sitting on the fence, right? They're sitting on the fence, they're deciding, I'm just not quite sure. What words of encouragement could you say, maybe mention to them? Just tips or something moving forward to say, you know what? Yes, this is so much fun. So cool.
Oh gosh, it is so fun. Like, honestly, especially if you're in Ontario, then definitely check out. There's races happening almost every single weekend. There's tries, and you don't need a year to prepare for it if you know how to swim already. Like you said, you had that little bit of apprehension and fear. If you can bike, so a try, it's sometimes 250 meters of swim, roughly, because it can vary to 350, but it's about 250 meter swim. It's a 10K bike ride, which pretty much anyone can do if you can ride a bike safely. And that you don't have to go fast. You just have to keep moving. And then it's a 2.5K run. So you could walk it if you needed to. Find venues. I mean, if you want to find an all women's, if you want to find, just a really low key race, if you want to find something bigger, there are tons. If you are in Ontario, you can check out Triathlon Ontario. .ca and check out their site. They've got a list of all their races. Multisport is another one that does a bunch of races. Check your running room sites, because they will also list triathlons. If you're in the other provinces, check out your provincial triathlon sites. If you're in the United States, again, just check your local triathlon associations, and it will give you the list. And then there's some that are actually, all of them are a lot of fun. If you're in Ontario, I can share with you, Jay, later on, some that are super fun for first-time people who are doing it for their very first time, and that are simple and easy.
Good. You know what? We can post that. That'll
Absolutely.
be really good. We'll post that as well. So that's amazing. So, Valerie, thank you. So for people who want to get in contact with you, so what's the process right now? Valerie Hogue, right? Now you're on Facebook.
I'm on Facebook. So under Facebook, it's V Hogue. That's pretty simple. You'll find me there, or Valerie Hogue, you'll find me. It's not hard to find, and you'll see it. It's pretty obvious. And so you can find me there. Or you can also email me, valerie@coachval.ca.
Okay, so again, I'll post that.
Yep. And if anyone has questions, absolutely. As courtesy to any of your viewers, I'd be more than happy to jump on a call with them for 15 minutes and just, chat with them and see if this is something they want to do, or if they're already doing triathlons, if it's something that, they're looking to change up, or they're just looking for that, what do I need to do, or how to, maybe what races to do. I'd be more than happy to chat with anyone who's watching.
Yeah, that's so cool. And folks, just remember, okay, you know what? Sometimes you just need to move through that fear. You need to take action, and you do, I think everybody, I agree, do need a coach. So contact Valerie. And I think, you know what, folks, we should give Valerie a big heart here and say thank you. And you know what, and if you're out there, please share with people, maybe make a comment. You know what, sharing is caring, and you know what, make a like, anything of that nature, because the whole purpose is to, you know what, expand and get the information that you want and move forward. So thank you again, Valerie. Mm-hmm. You've been amazing. I know you are just a plethora of information and what you've been able to accomplish. So congratulations on all your accomplishments and on what you've done, especially in this particular field. So that is fantastic. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, so I think the only thing I'd like to add is that, and you've said it, give it a shot. Don't be afraid. Triathlons, do it for fun. That's how I got into it. Just go and challenge yourself. And you'll be amazed at the support you get, even on the field. You'll be amazed. If it's your first time, you're going to, you'll probably fall in love with it. And you don't have to be good at all three sports. Honestly.
Oh, it's true.
You can be mediocre at all three and actually enjoy it. And you don't have to be super young. There is no age limitations. I met Sister Madonna, who is like in her 80s, and she's still doing Ironmans.
Which is amazing.
You know, so this is, it is a sport that is open to all ages. And if you've got kids, they can do the races too. There's races for them as well. So, I mean, we've got some of the people that I coach in a team that I'm coaching of 50 athletes. We have some that are doing races with their children because their children have gotten involved in the sport. So now it's a family thing.
That's excellent.
And if you're the spouse who says, well, I'm injured or I'm not able to do the sports, but my spouse would love to do it. Well, trust me, they need support too. So, you know, you can have a blast at those races, even if you're not racing. So get out there, volunteer, see what it's about. Mm-hmm. That's a great way.
That's a good one.
I mean, we can always use volunteers on those courses, and you will have the most amazing time.
That's excellent. So thank you. Now listen, everybody, remember that, you know, hashtag collaboration is cool, hashtag Valerie Hogue, hashtag, you know, bucket list, hashtag coaching. You know what, it's just fantastic. So listen, thank you again. Have a fantastic day. Everybody out there in community, thank you so much for joining us today. Okay, and we hope to see you again. Okay, cheers. Take care, folks.